Welcome back and welcome to another day of Biddy and Miley's story. As per usual, the day started off at around 6 o'clock with the first feeding at around 8 minutes past 6. And with Biddy showing Miley the chicks. And I still don't quite remember seeing a male being so interested in the whole feeding process. And yes, they would always be very interested in feeding the chicks, but never as interested as Miley as when he sits there and watches them being fed. Now again, this could be down to the side view nest box, and it may have been something I just hadn't noticed before. And I do believe that the last egg has hatched. Now, I would be worried for this chick as it's 2 days behind some of the other chicks, and that may pose a problem for down the line. It kind of has the odds stacked against it, but we'll wait and see and be hopeful. Miley seems to be getting the hang of feeding. A lot of hungry mouths. You can see Biddy here decides to do a bit of spring cleaning on the nest. And they do this every so often as a clean nest won't attract disease. So it is a very essential that they keep it as clean as they can. You can see Miley here trying to feed the chicks something that is far too big for them, nearly the size of their head. Thankfully, he does realise his mistake eventually and decides to eat it himself. So he decides to eat it himself now, and even he actually struggles with it a wee bit. But eventually he's back with a smaller morsel and manages to get the chicks to feed. So you may be wondering why birds hop from chick to chick with the same piece of food. And it is believed that this is sussing out which chick is hungriest and also trying to feed them evenly. But this is also why I'm worrying for the smallest chick, as the bigger chicks will have much more strength and grasp to pull the food off the feeding blue tit. So it'll be interesting to see how that little chick fares. Another fecal sack for Biddy. I always love how Biddy sinks back into the nest when she's starting to keep the chicks warm again. You can see here, Biddy takes some food off Miley at the nest hole and then proceeds to feed the chicks with it. That wing flapping is how the birds ask for food of one another, and you'll even see young fledglings do this when they're out of the nest. They'll actually flap their wings just like that when asking their parents for food. And as you can see, it's a huge morsel of food, but Biddy manages to get one of the chicks to eat it, which is great. another shared feeding. Followed by yet another fecal sac for Biddy. A nice green caterpillar for one of the chicks. It's amazing how much stronger some of the chicks have gotten, to barely being able to lift their head to jumping up at every chance they get. So unfortunately, I didn't actually quite manage to find the footage of the sixth chick hatching. I only know he is hatched, he or she, as there's some upcoming footage where you see 6 little beaks. She may have just eaten the eggshells out of sight. And you can see in this next sequence, you can see the 6 little chicks pop up. So we have 6 chicks in total. Let's hope it stays that way. Biddy doing some more spring cleaning. And yet another shared feeding. We get a lovely shot of the 2 proud parents here, just looking down at their chicks. In this next sequence, you can really see the chicks reacting to the adult's call, to the feeding call. You can see 5 of them really just burst up there. And this is where they would have an advantage over the newly hatched chick. Some of them are even starting to react to the parents jumping in and out of the nest hole. We get a nice view of all the chicks all curled up here, all new to the world. Again, if you look carefully in the next sequence, you can actually make out the 6 chicks. And that was pretty much all the action from yesterday. The chicks seem to be getting stronger and growing with every day, so it's going to be great to see them grow. Hopefully the food keeps up and we see some of these chicks successfully fledge. Biddy decided to head to bed at her usual time at around 8:15. So as always guys, thanks for joining me, and if you're enjoying the videos, please like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.